In this trip, we're exploring the Kamakura period, which started in 1185 and lasted nearly 150 years. We begin this experience in Kamakura City, which became the country's capital during this period, and we'll visit several historic sites from this time. We'll then discuss how tea culture evolved during this period, while visiting the Uji tea fields, before finishing up in Fukuoka, on Kyushu Island, at the site of the Mongol invasions. The Genpei War between the Taira and Minamoto clans started in 1180 and lasted for 5 years. The war ended with the defeat of the Taira and the establishment of the Kamakura shogunate by Minamoto no Yoritomo. The Kamakura period saw the rise of the samurai as the new ruling class, replacing the court aristocrats and bureaucrats. Yoritomo established the Kamakura shogunate headquarters in Kamakura, far from the traditional seat of power in Kyoto. This was a strategic move to distance the new military government, the shogunate, from the intrigues of the imperial court, headed by the emperor. Yoritomo acted swiftly to consolidate his power. He received the title of Shogun from the emperor, which gave him the authority to rule Japan in the emperor's name. We're now exploring Tsurugaoka Hachimangu in Kamakura, which is one of the most important Shinto shrines in Japan. The shrine was originally built in 1063, but gained prominence when Minamoto no Yoritomo made it the geographical and spiritual center of the newly established Kamakura government. Tsurugaoka Hachimangu was considered the guardian shrine for the warriors and was deeply revered by them. It was not just a religious center, but also a symbol of Minamoto's political power. Yoritomo used the shrine to legitimize his rule, blending religious rites with political ceremonies. Minamoto no Yorie became the second shogun of the Kamakura shogunate after the death of his father, Yoritomo. However, he was too young to rule effectively, and so his mother, Hojo Masako, and grandfather, Hojo Tokimasa, acted as regents. Yorie was never able to exercise real power, as the Hojo clan controlled the shogunate through similar methods employed by the Fujiwara clan to control the emperor in the previous Heian period. Yorie was forced into retirement and was assassinated by his grandfather shortly afterwards. Minamoto no Sanetomo was the second son of Yoritomo, third shogun of the Kamakura shogunate, and an accomplished poet, who was similarly controlled by the Hojo clan. He was assassinated here in 1219 by his nephew, Kugyo, the son of Yorie. Kugyo blamed his uncle for his father's death, ambushing Sanetomo at the bottom of the stone stairs in front of you. Shortly after, he was captured and beheaded, thus ending the direct Minamoto line. We are now heading to Uji in Kyoto Prefecture to look at the beautiful tea plantations, while we continue with the history of the Kamakura shoguns. After the death of the Minamoto shoguns, the relationship between the imperial court in Kyoto and the Kamakura shogunate grew more tense. Kujo Yoritsuni, a member of the great Fujiwara clan, was installed as a puppet shogun under the control of the Hojo clan, who acted as his regent, a role known as shiken in Japanese. Emperor Go-Toba, who had abdicated but still wielded considerable influence, called upon loyalist samurai and warriors to rise against the Kamakura shogunate. The Jokyu War in 1221 took place in Uji and was the third major battle here in less than half a century. The emperor's army was quickly defeated by the Hojo-led forces. The Jokyu War effectively ended any serious attempts by the imperial court to overthrow the shogunate and restore direct imperial rule, and it marginalized the imperial court's role in Japanese politics even further. The Hojo clan's victory contributed to a period of relative stability in Japan, albeit under a feudal system that was heavily skewed in favor of the shogunate and its regents. We've already seen some beautiful tea fields here in Uji, so let's move away from politics and take a closer look at the history of tea. The Buddhist monk Saicho is credited with bringing tea seeds from China to Japan when it was first introduced in the 9th century, during the Heian period. The spread of Zen Buddhism, with its tea-drinking practices, was a key cultural import from China. It was during the Kamakura period that the consumption of tea became widespread among the samurai class and Buddhist monks. The Zen monk, Eisai, popularized the drinking of tea in Japan during the late 12th century. He introduced the tea seeds that are used here in Uji, an area famous for its high-quality tea production. Eisai also wrote Kisa Yojoki, How to Stay Healthy by Drinking Tea. The first sentence of which states, "Tea is the ultimate mental and medical remedy, and has the ability to make one's life more full and complete." The Kamakura period was a time of religious transformation in Japan, with the rise of new Buddhist sects like the aforementioned Zen Buddhism and also Pure Land Buddhism. Let's explore them further. Zen Buddhism was introduced from China and became popular among the samurai class and the ruling Hojo clan, partly because of its emphasis on discipline, simplicity, and direct experience. The aesthetics of wabi-sabi, or the beauty in imperfection and transience, were deeply influenced by Zen teachings. Kotoku-in is a Pure Land Buddhist temple in Kamakura, a Buddhist sect focused on the worship of Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha is said to have made 48 vows, promising to create a pure land and to help all sentient beings be reborn there if they call upon his name with sincere faith. The Pure Land of Amida Buddha is a realm where conditions are ideal for achieving enlightenment. Kotoku-in, with its monumental statue, became a significant center for this form of Buddhism. The Great Buddha was originally cast in 1252 during the Kamakura period, replacing an older wooden statue that was destroyed by a storm. It beautifully displays the advanced metalwork and engineering skills of the period. The statue was initially housed in a wooden hall, but the structure was washed away by a tsunami in the late 15th century. Remarkably, the statue itself survived and has been in the open air ever since. Hasedera Temple is one of the great centers of the Buzan sect of Shingon Buddhism, contributing to the religious diversity of the Kamakura period. Its main deity, an 11-headed statue of Kannon, is one of the largest wooden statues in Japan and is believed to have miraculous powers. According to legend, the statue, carved by a monk, washed ashore and was brought to Kamakura, where a temple was built to honor it. We're now moving away from these religious sites and heading to the coast of Kyushu, near Fukuoka, where first contact was made with the Mongols. The drama of the Kamakura period continued when Kublai Khan, the Mongol ruler, and the grandson of Genghis Khan, sent envoys to Japan in 1266, demanding submission. The Mongols had already defeated Korea and were looking to expand their empire further. The Kamakura shogunate refused to submit, and a full invasion was expected. 8 years later, a Mongol fleet accompanied by Korean and Chinese troops moved along this coastline to nearby Hakata Bay in Fukuoka. The Mongol invasion was one of the earliest cases of gunpowder warfare outside of China. The invaders' explosive, hand-thrown bombs were a notable technological advance that startled horses and induced fear amongst the fighting Japanese. Ultimately, the invading force was repelled, partly due to a typhoon that destroyed a significant portion of the Mongol fleet. After the initial invasion of 1274, the Kamakura shogunate organized the construction of a 20-kilometer wall along Hakata Bay in preparation for a second attack by Mongol forces. Most of the stones from the wall were later used in the construction of Fukuoka Castle, which began in 1601 during the Edo period. In 1281, a much larger Mongol force attacked, again landing in Kyushu, not far from this lovely modern beach resort. Despite initial successes, the invasion was once again unsuccessful, thanks to another typhoon, later termed the Kamikaze, or Divine Wind, which destroyed the Mongol fleet. The Divine Wind perpetuated the Japanese belief that they would never be defeated or successfully invaded. This remained an important aspect of Japanese foreign policy for centuries, until the end of World War II. We're back at the Hazadera Temple for the final chapter of the Kamakura Shogunate. The Mongol invasions drained their resources, and the samurai class became increasingly discontented due to the lack of rewards and land grants. The Hojo clan were increasingly seen as ineffective and corrupt leaders. Sensing weakness in the Hojo clan, Emperor Go-Daigo launched a rebellion against the Kamakura Shogunate in 1331. It failed, and the emperor was exiled. Emperor Go-Daigo then regrouped and led the 1333 siege of Kamakura, this time with great success. The Hojo regents realized their situation was hopeless and performed seppuku, also known as harakiri, effectively ending the Kamakura shogunate. Seppuku is a form of suicide where a person disembowels themselves, and then a second person performs a beheading to quicken death. This act was considered honorable and was a way to show bravery and restore family honor rather than falling into the hands of the enemy. After the fall of the Kamakura shogunate, Emperor Go-Daigo attempted to restore direct imperial rule. However, this was short-lived, and the Ashikaga shogunate soon took power, marking the beginning of the Muromachi period, which we'll explore in the next experience. We hope you enjoyed this exploration of the Kamakura period with the establishment of Japan's first shogunate, the introduction of tea and a variety of Buddhist sects, as well as the successful repulsion of the Mongol invasion. Dynamic Languages is more than just immersive video lessons. There are many more on-demand, live-action, virtual reality experiences to uncover. You can go on fascinating tours around Japan and discover the culture, history, and traditions of this beautiful country. In our latest series, you'll discover Japan's history as we go back to the beginning of civilization and travel through the ages, developing a deep appreciation for a society shaped by samurai, emperors, nature, and war. This exploration of Japan's past uncovers its legends, empire, political philosophy, and culture. Experience these trips in English with the option to learn key Japanese words as you go, or switch the narration to intermediate N3 level Japanese with keywords and comprehension questions and improve your speaking and understanding. This series will expand your cultural knowledge and open your eyes to the events that have shaped modern-day Japan. Next time you visit, you'll have a new perspective and a deeper appreciation of the country and its people. Download the Dynamic Languages app now and immerse yourself in Japanese lessons and the country's fascinating traditions and unique customs. Travel the world and learn with Dynamic Languages.